Hi, my name is Andrew, and welcome to another Keyforge deck review. This is one I haven't played in any sort of tournament setting yet, so I haven't really got to test it there, but it has some cool interactions, and we'll be going over them. This is Smitheson of Tilliverse Factory. It's Sanctum, Shadows, and Brobnar, and we'll get right into it. Starting with Brobnar, Anger. Very good. Something I just found out from FFG's FFG Organized Plays video is cards like Anger, that this can actually remove a stun even if there's no fight target. So if you use Anger on a creature that is stunned, it'll end up exhausted and unstunned regardless of whether your enemy has any creatures. So that's pretty useful to know. Coward's End. Destroy each undamaged creature. Gain 3 chains. I don't love this card, but it can be nice for dealing with elusive creatures. There are 2 of them in here. So it's iffy. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not so great. Punch. 1 amber, 3 damage. Important. This is direct damage. It's not affected by things like elusive or taunt. It is affected by armor, though. And Shadow Self, for example, would affect it. Alright, Relentless Assault. This is basically a triple Anger. You have to pick 3 different creatures to use it on, and it doesn't give you an amber, but you're picking 3 creatures to ready and fight with. War Song. Action, and for the remainder of the turn, you gain an amber each time a friendly creature fights. Your Brobnar, you probably want to fight, so this is pretty good. Next up, Cannon. This is an artifact. And as an action, it deals 2 damage to your creature. Again, direct damage can be pretty useful. And oh, here's another one. And these are perfect for killing a Dew Fairy or Naughty or something like that. Carlo or whatever that the snake one is that has the 1 power and poison and skirmish. These are great for dealing with those. Just really nice for just augmenting the Brobnar ability to maintain board control. Alright, the War Chest. It's an artifact that has action, gain 1 for each enemy creature that is destroyed in a fight this turn. Interesting, it is limited to fight, so in a fight. So this means that, it's good with things like Anger and Relentless Assault. It's good with the rest of your Brobnar creatures where you're wanting to kill stuff. Because it's an artifact, it has no effect the turn it comes out, but later on you can reap a lot of rewards from it. I haven't gotten a ton of value out of it, but it has a lot of potential. Headhunter, 5 power, fight, gain 1. Pretty straightforward. Has to stay alive for that fight to take effect. Same with the effect here. Rogue Ogre, well, of course, at the end of the turn, it has to be alive. Rogue Ogre is a power 6, and at the end of your turn, if you played exactly 1 card this turn, Rogue Ogre heals 2 damage and captures 1. So he has pretty decent staying power because of that heal he's capturing, so that your opponent's going to want to kill him. Playing 1 card on a turn is usually not very exciting, but if you have, let's say you have 1 Shadows card in your hand and several creatures on the board, you can use them and play the 1 from your hand, and you're going to do okay. Situational, but sometimes pretty good. Alright, Smash, 5 power, you play it, you stun a creature. Again, worth noting, if it's the only creature on the board, or if your opponent has no creatures, you're going to have to stun one of your own creatures. Alright, on to Sanctum. Blinding Light, gain an amber, choose a house, stun each creature of that house. So good board control here. There's just the 1. So decent board control, though. Again, if you're dealing with things you can't kill, this might be a good way to just turn them off for a turn. Alright, now we have 2 of these. Oath of Poverty. This is really good. You saw how many artifacts we have so far. Just in Brobnar, we covered 3 artifacts already. And Oath of Poverty gives you an amber, and then you destroy all of your artifacts, and you gain twice that number in amber. So if you have those 3 Brobnar artifacts out, let's say, you play this, you gain the 1, and +6, so you're going to get 7 amber. I mean, this can very easily net you a key in one card, so that's pretty strong. It means, of course, the artifact's gone, but it's worth it if you get a key. So that's pretty good amber ramping there. And there are 2 of them. Take hostages, 1 amber, and for the remainder of the turn, each time a friendly creature fights, it captures 1. So I guess there's some similarities to Warsong, but quite different, and there's 2 of them. So if you're doing fighting with your Sanctum creatures, boom. Hallowed Blaster. This is nice to help keep your fighting creatures on the board. Artifact, action, heal 3 damage from a creature. Again, here's another artifact. Good. Oath of Poverty target. I think we're up to 4 at this point. Bulwark, 4 power, 2 armor, and each of its neighbors gets +2 armor. This is nice for helping keep some of your other creatures on the board, such as Commander Remiel, who's only 3 power, but when Remiel fights or reaps, it lets you use a friendly non-Sanctum creature. This just pairs really well with, well, it's just good. This is one of my favorite cards in Sanctum. I'm always happy to see Commander Remiel. I definitely want to keep that on the board if possible. All right, next, Jehu. This is also a pretty good Sanctum card, power 3, relatively wimpy, but when you choose Sanctum as your active house, you gain 2 amber. So pretty good if you can keep him on the board. Again, maybe next to that Bulwark. And then we have Lady Maxina, 5 power, 2 armor. That's already strong. And when she comes out of your hand, you stun a creature, and she can spend an action. She can you can use her to return her to your hand. And the idea there is, and I just love the image here of her, she just jumps right back up in your hand and boom, slams back down with that hammer and stuns something else. So that's a pretty cool effect. Comparable to Smash, but she can repeat it, and she has that 2 armor. So, I mean, really strictly better than Smash. But she is Sanctum and uncommon at that, so she ought to be pretty good. All right. Raiding Knight, 4 power, 2 armor. When you play it, you capture 1. And Staunch Knight, 4 power, 2 armor, and when it's on a flank, it gets +2 power, so it's a 6 power. All right, that wraps up Sanctum. Next, we have Miasma. Gain an amber, and your opponent skips the Forge a Key step on their next turn. That can win games, just keeping your opponent off a key for a turn. Pretty good. Relentless Whispers, deal 2 damage to a creature. If that damage destroys the creature, steal 1. So that can be a 3 amber swing, and you destroy a creature. That's pretty cool. Master Plan. This is interesting. You have to think about it. It's almost like Super Archives. So when you play it, it's an artifact. It gains you an amber, and you put a card from your hand face down beneath it. And then as an Omni ability, on some future turn, you can play the card beneath Master Plan, and then you sacrifice Master Plan. So that's that can be pretty good. I mean, it depends on what you put under there, but that means you could potentially use Relentless Assault on a Sanctum turn, or Miasma on a Brobnar turn, or something like that. So it can be pretty good. Sometimes, I played it earlier today, just playing with one of my kids, and went ahead and threw Miasma under the Master Plan, which seemed pretty good at the time. Later on, I got Oath of Poverty and just decided to blast it for points, so for amber. So I think that brings us up to 5 artifacts. Seeker Needle, I think, takes us up to 6. And Seeker Needle is an artifact that can, as an action, deal 1 damage to a creature. If the damage destroys that creature, gain 1 amber. Pretty good. Also great Oath of Poverty target. Skeleton Key, that's our 7th artifact. Action, a friendly creature captures 1. So this is good amber control, keeping your opponent off their keys. So that's seven targets for Oath of Poverty. there's a decent chance that you're going to get 2 runs of Oath of Poverty that each gain you 7 amber. So that can be pretty good if it works out. Next, Bad Penny, and we have 2 of these. Bad Penny is 1 power, and when she's destroyed, you return her to your hand. I think this is kind of situational in this deck. I think the best case scenario you get for Bad Penny is that she's on the table. You can reap with her and then use Seeker Needle to kill her, and it basically turns your Seeker Needle into action, gain 1 amber, and then you can put her back on the table. That's okay, but it's not amazing. So I so far haven't seen really amazing effects with Bad Penny, and that would just really wow me and say, oh, this is a great card. But I don't know. There's probably a lot of things I'd rather have than that, but it's not terrible. Carlo Phantom. This is good with 7 artifacts. It's a 1 power elusive skirmish, and each time you play an artifact, steal 1. So lots of good opportunities to have that trigger, and then you can, a couple turns later, go ahead and murder those artifacts for amber with Oath. Naughty the Thief. 2 power elusive action, steal 1. Shadow Self, 9 power. It doesn't deal damage when it fights, but it soaks up damage from its neighbors. Again, good way to keep some of your things on the board that you want doing work for a while, like maybe Headhunter or Carlo or Naughty. Umbra has Skirmish, power 2, and when it fights it steals 1. This is functionally identical to Bat Drone, right? It's the same card. It's just in shadows instead. Oh, I guess it has Elf Thief, where Bat Drone is probably like Robot. So far, well, I guess that can matter. There's a couple cards where that matters, but mostly it's similar to Bat Drone. And our last card here, Urchin, elusive. And when you play it, you steal 1, and it has 1 power. So that's that. It has that's this deck. It has a little bit of steal. That's not bad. A little bit of board presence. Nothing too amazing in my opinion. And then probably the best thing it has going for it is getting those artifacts out, getting a little bit of value out of them, and then going ahead and burning them with Oath of Poverty for really substantial amber ramping. That's a great way to just pull ahead. No bait and switch, no too much to protect. So again, just not a ton of very reliable swing mechanics or amber control, but still pretty decent and can definitely get the job done. That's it. I hope you enjoyed seeing Smitheson of Tilliverse Factory, and keep forging.